Hi there, I am Adam Kirbas and this is my novel Life Choices. Jason Biggs and Frederick Mulham became friends. They lived together in this world of outcasts. They kept each other's bags. They lived through day and night. Their lives would get some sort of a meaning with each other. From day to day, they would talk about plans they have concocted where they would live with each other in a future, in a moment where they would have it all, where they would have success, when they would be successful and when they could leave this life behind. But the longer they lived, the more depressed they got. A life which has no purpose, a life that does not lead to anywhere, only living from day to day is depressing. And the longer they concocted those plans about the future, the more depressed they got when reality becomes unbearable and they feel an urge to change it or to dream. This is when Jason Biggs and Frederick Mulham became drug addicts. Those guilt, self-doubt, all these moments where they thought about the single instance, the single moment in their lives where they had lost it all, where they had given it away, and these thoughts are intermingled with all these illusions and dreams about all the others who were successful, who accomplished something, and they did not, as if time would have stood still. So every day, Jason and Frederick would get up. Their goal was not to just live and wait for the right opportunity to finally dash back in life. No, their daily chores, their daily goals had become a drive to gather enough money to buy drugs, to forget the moment, to forget this hopelessness, to forget the end of a road they try to deny, and the end of their lives, because it felt like the end of their lives. It felt like that there would not be a way back, that there wouldn't be a way back to return to a life they thought or they could live in a way or another, because they felt the longer they lived among all these outcasts, the more they would forget their past and the more they would adapt to a life as an outcast. The way they think, the ideas they have, the moments they ponder about, and the solutions for their lives. And deep inside, what they knew that even if they could get a chance to live, even if they could be shown a path to return to their lives, they would probably use it all up in a syringe. They knew that this addiction they fell prey to, that they would probably not be able to overcome it anymore. It is too striking. It has already written itself in their characters, how they think, what they think about their daily problems and the world they see, their perspectives. They look into the world. They somehow felt there is probably no way back. There's probably no escape of this misery. And this made them more depressive. And even it conjured up thoughts. Where does this life lead? Where is this all going? And Frederick, he thought a lot about suicide, because this would end nowhere. He on some days when things got very depressing, when he did not have enough drugs, when he did not gather and garner enough money to buy drugs, these days they were the most severe ones. Because then he had to face reality. Then he knew that there would be no escape. And there he knew that all his dreams, they were far-fetched, too far away, and he would probably never make it. These were gloomy days, almost unbearable. And then he thought a lot about suicide, about ending it all. Jason and Frederick, they lived their lives. They tried to not to raise and draw any attention, because they felt in a way that they were outcasts. They experienced it whenever they would go to the supermarket, the way people looked at them, the way people stared at them. They wouldn't be appreciated. So society had labeled them. In the beginning, Frederick still tried to maintain some sort of a social composure. He would go through a great deal to wash his clothes so that they do not smell, so that he can walk through public, be among people. But the more he experienced, or the more he felt that he could not bond with anyone, the more he felt that he still is an outcast, even among those with clean clothes, the more he gave it up. He didn't see any hope of it anymore. He didn't see any purpose in it anymore. And it again proved one thing, that he will probably not overcome his current situation. And this is common thinking when they feel as outcasts. They try everything to draw attention. They don't want to be seen. They hide their faces, because once Frederick saw one of his former classmates. This former classmate did not recognize Frederick, and Frederick felt deep ashamed, afraid. And this was the reason from that day on that he was bent forward, so that people do not see his face, so that people do not become aware of him, who he was, why he lost his way, why he fall through the rust, why the road ended for him. He felt ashamed of himself. And this was the reason why they never tried to draw any attention. But not for Cliff Benderfield. Cliff Benderfield no matter what you would do, he would find you. He would find them. He would look at them, because Cliff Benderfield was a policeman. He is one of those success stories. He always assures himself he is a man who puts great emphasis on his appearance, on his body. He works out every day, and he has a toned body, and he likes to show it to all others. Cliff does not think much of people who put a lot of emphasis on education, on brains. Why? Because Cliff imagines, or is still fixed on the thought that one day the world will all come to an end. And there only muscles will determine the future of all mankind. Cliff Benderfield is convinced that humanity cannot go on as this. He knows it. He has read a lot, and this, what he read, he is sure of it, is what really matters. It's the truth. And in a future, in a doomsday future, in an end of the world future, the world needs strong men. Cliff Benderfield has nothing but contempt for women who seek men who are smart. Because for Cliff, these are only whores, prostitutes, who just want a man to earn enough so that they can sit at home, so that they can do nothing while the man works his ass off. And who knows, while her husband is in work, she probably has sexual intercourse with another man, with the neighbor, whom you got, no matter who. Cliff Benderfield does not trust women. He does not consider them as trustworthy, because he thinks that it is in the nature of a woman to betray her husband. It is in her biology, especially then when her man or her husband doesn't prove himself as worthy. For Cliff, the world consists of two categories. Either you are a man or you are not. Either you can take care of your family or you cannot. This is simple as it gets, because for Cliff, you do not make life too complicated. The truth of life, and Cliff is sure of it, is a simple solution, a simple remedy. And this is that you, as the man, have to be on top. This is the simple truth. And this is the reason why Cliff puts a lot of emphasis on his body, on his strength. Because one day, all those wise guys, one day, all those so-called smart people, they will perish. They will come to an hideous end. Especially then, when true men are needed. And Cliff thinks about this a lot. He prepares himself for this moment a lot. Cliff is a difficult guy, to say the least, working with him is not easy. That's why people in the police precinct avoid him. He's annoying. You cannot really talk with him because Cliff only talks about himself. He likes to talk about himself, what he has accomplished, that he is a sport, that he works out a lot, that he can run 20 miles, that he is good, that he is that, and that he is this. He's annoying. That's why he does not have a partner, because he is unbearable. The captain of the police precinct keeps him because he is white, because he is not one of those policemen and police women who are reluctant to go out to do actually real police work, because a lot of people in the police precinct, they actually fear the streets. It has gotten very dangerous there. Many policemen and police women have been shot. People do not respect the police anymore. Things have gotten really dangerous. Policemen, they do not wanna go on the streets anymore, or at least they do not wanna get out of the safe police car anymore. And crime has pretty much taken over the city. But Cliff is different. He likes to get out of the car. He likes to walk on the street. He does not fear anything because he wants to show who he is. That's why the captain kept him, even though he's racist, even though he makes stupid remarks. No matter what, he is fearless, and that's why he still works as a policeman. Cliff likes to walk through the woods. He likes to walk past people, past homeless people. And he walks past them in an air to show them what he has accomplished and they did not. Cliff ensures himself that it would be his duty. He imagines that he could be a role model for these bums, even though he thinks to himself that there would be no hope for any homeless person, because he thinks it is in their DNA. He thinks that one is born as a slob and that one cannot change his faith. And that Cliff, that he has pure genes, that he is beyond these ordinary folks, that he is beyond the reach of this evil of mental laziness, because this is apparent for Cliff. If someone ends on the streets, this is because he's mentally lazy. He doesn't want to do anything. He's stupid, whatever you have it. That's the worldview of Cliff Benderfield. And whenever Cliff walks past these people, past misery, he thinks good of himself. He is just an ordinary cop. He's just someone people do not pay much attention in the police precinct. women do not take him seriously. He's one of those guys you try to avoid, but here among the misery, here when he walks past them, then Cliff is someone who has accomplished something, who is not an ordinary guy, who is not one of these bums who never do anything good, and he likes to walk past them. He enjoys it, every tread on the soil. This is what makes life sweet for Cliff. One day, Jason and Cliff met. Cliff tried to get some of those bums talking because he needed a good record. He's still a policeman with a lot of ambition, and he wanted to show off in the police precinct that he can get things done, that he can actually solve a crime compared to all his colleagues who don't even want to leave their police cars, who do not want to even face the misery on the streets. And Cliff, in a way, always tried to indict or find a criminal among those people who had nothing, among those drug addicts. And he tried to bond with them, even though it was against his nature, even though Cliff was convinced that between him and these people there would never be any bond, that there would never be any connection, not in 100 years. Yet he needed them. He needed snitches, people who talk about others, people whom he can therefore use to get big fishes, to bust someone, so that he can be a hero, so that he can show off in the police precinct that he, the real man, the man of the future, that he can actually accomplish something. And Cliff was mad about it. It was crossing his mind. He wanted to show all those people in the police precinct. He wanted to show it to all those women who think that they are better than men, who are even his superiors. He want to show them all that he, Cliff Benderfield, whom they do not take seriously, that he can actually accomplish something. So Cliff and Jason met. This is how they got to know each other. Jason wanted to have drugs, and Cliff was willing to give him the money in exchange for information. And so their work relationship started. Whenever Jason knew something, whenever Jason heard something, he would immediately tell Cliff. Cliff would check the source, check the information, would make a bust, would become a hero, and then he would give Jason some money so that he can buy drugs. And Cliff was very proud of himself. He had accomplished something. He's one of those few policemen who actually do something. The captain was proud of him, even introduced him as the policeman of the year. He is the one who takes care of the streets. He is the one who makes these streets safe. But in reality, the streets, they were far from safe. All those busts Cliff made, they were only a drop in the ocean in order to really fight crime. You would have to employ people in a much bigger scale, but no one in the city was willing to go so far to accomplish anything, only likely or remotely. So all those small victories by Cliff Benderfield, they were hailed as great accomplishments, and they helped the city government to cover up those crime-written dark shadows no one wanted to see, and everyone wanted to forget. One or few bastard small criminals became then masterminds, people who controlled the entire drug business of the city, and the city police, the ordinary guy whom everyone can associate himself with. He actually makes the street safe. He actually keeps the street clean and helps everyone to a better life. This is great ad. This is where you can gain a lot of supporters, and many politicians became aware of this great opportunity to show and present themselves in this light as the saviors, as the ones who can accomplish something. But things took a turn. Things took a different angle, and it looked as if everything would be gone as it had been. Jason would provide a Cliff with information, and in return, Cliff would bust them. Everyone was happy. Cliff was a star, and nothing and no one could change anything about it. Even the captain of the precinct nominated Cliff as his successor. He was the one and only, and he was one of the few who actually were willing to get this job. But then things changed. Things changed significantly the day when Jason Biggs made the acquaintance of Anne Farrell.